Good morning, welcome back to Mull. Change of perspective this morning. We're on the move, we're mobile. Now then, this morning's message from Mull is listen to your body. A couple of the most common questions we get when people come to Healthy Options is what should I be doing in terms of exercise, but also how should I feel during that exercise. And we tend to use a process called perceived exertion. There are lots of fitness trackers out there on the market these days that will measure your heart rate fairly accurately, give you various training zones. One of the problems though is that when you're dealing with people that are initially deconditioned, haven't trained for a while, or maybe on drugs that affect the heart rate, sometimes that's not always the best approach. So we tend to use something called a Borg scale. Now, we won't tell you it's called a Borg scale, because that's not very interesting. And this is something that we're taught as fitness instructors in our early days. And the initial Borg scale ran from 6 to 20, 6 being very light and 20 being maximal effort. But that's not that easy for people to judge or get their head around, especially when they're new to exercise. So a modified system was produced of 1 to 10. And that's easier for me too. And this is something we use in the gym a lot in terms of how you should be feeling. So basically, 1 is very light. I'll often tell people that's lying on the sofa with a pina colada. Working your way up through 2 to 3 is light exercise, so something you could maintain for a long time, for hours. Very easy breathing. And then we get to the sort of region that we're interested in, which is 4 to 6. And 4 to 6 is starting to breathe a bit heavier, as I am. Feeling a bit hot, a bit sweaty. Sweat is not a bad thing. Don't worry about it, it's your natural cooling system. I'm feeling slightly uncomfortable. But, and this is the crucial thing, we employ something called the talk test. So when we're going around the gym or around one of our classes and we're talking to you, yes, we are interested in what you did at the weekend and what's going on in your life, but we also want to see what's happening. I need to turn a corner here, in terms of your ability to talk back to us and maintain a conversation. And we know that if you can do that, but probably just struggle a little bit to do that, then we're in the right place. So if you've been training for a little while now, on the bike or out walking, maybe some of you are doing a little jog every now and again, or you've got indoor equipment, then it might be worth just thinking, am I still in the right zone? Am I still training as hard as I need to be? Am I overdoing it? So maybe think, if Rob was here at the minute, could I keep a conversation going? Starting to climb now. Hard to do this one-handed. So the other issue that we may have is that the human body adapts. I'm going to stop now. So I've got a cattle grid coming up and I don't want to do that one-handed. Ooh. The human body adapts to your fitness levels and your technique development as well. So what may have made you feel a little bit out of breath in the early days may not do anymore. And this is why this rating of perceived exertion is so good, because it means that at any given time, whether you're progressing or regressing, if you have an illness and you go backwards, then it means that you can always get yourself back to the same sort of level in terms of your training, which is going to elicit a response. And sometimes, as I say, you have to take a step back, and this is where the listen to your body comes in. So some folks we know have had illness over the last 9 weeks, not all COVID-19, but some have had it, and the road to recovery is quite long and difficult. But as long as when they feel ready to exercise and they've got their energy back and a bit of motivation, then working in that sort of level of 4 to 6 on a 1 to 10 scale is going to help them elicit a response and get back to where they were perhaps. If you find you're going into more like a 7, 8, which is what we refer to more as vigorous or hard activity, then probably pushing a little bit too much. You may want to do that in very, very short bursts. It's a sort of form of interval training. So if you've been going for a while and you want to progress things, thinking about the principle of overload that we spoke about before, and variance, just mixing things up a little bit, that's fine. But if you're holding that level for long periods of time to the point where you could not keep a conversation going with somebody if they were talking to you, then we're probably pushing a little bit too hard, and I would ask you just to ease back a little bit into the more sort of comfortable zone of about 4 to 6. I would say most of you are probably sitting around about more 5 to 6 in your head. So that's today's message from Mull. I'm going to negotiate this cattle grid, but two-handed, because they can be a bit slippery. It has been wet this morning. And thank you for those who sent in information about making space for nature yesterday. So just very briefly, great to see that some of you were leaving log piles out to rot down for insects, for homes, for hedgehogs, or hodge pigs, as some of you said. And I know some of you have been building ponds, and that's a fantastic way of inviting nature into your garden, and a great project for kids as well, and then they can go pond dipping, so that's fantastic. And also leaving gaps under your fences so that animals can move freely, and basically use all our gardens as a big patchwork of nature reserves. And lifting concrete slabs and sort of going back to nature a little bit. Another really good way of encouraging animals back in, and also good for us because it stops runoff of water, and it soaks up the water, stops flooding basically. It's just we've got too much concrete on the go these days. So I'm going to head off now, and I hope you have a good morning, and we'll catch up with you later with exercise of the day. Stay safe. Bye bye.